In this video, I'm going to show the 5 most common B1 habits that are keeping you from sounding advanced. But we're not just going to talk about them, we're going to fix them. For each B1 habit, I'll give you the B2 alternative, a strategic shift that will let you express more nuance, more sophistication, and more of your true personality in English. This isn't about learning 100 new rules. It's about making 5 smart changes that will completely transform how you speak English. So, if you're ready to break through that plateau, let's get started. Look, I know exactly how you feel. Your English is pretty good. You can understand a lot. You can express your basic ideas, but you feel stuck. You're using the same simple words and the same grammar over and over, and you just don't sound like the confident, advanced speaker you want to be. It's one of the most frustrating places to be on your English journey. And you are not alone. When you listen to native speakers, you feel that gap, don't you? That gap between good enough and truly fluent. The sentences that come out of your mouth feel simple. They don't have the complexity of the thoughts in your head. The main reason you feel stuck is because there's a disconnect. Your passive skills, your reading and listening, are strong, but your active skills, your speaking and writing, are not at the same level. You are relying on a set of grammar patterns that are your safety net. They got you here to this B1 level, which is great, but now they are the very things holding you back. So the first major change is all about how you talk about possibilities. This is the world of conditionals in English, and it's one of the clearest lines between a B1 speaker and a B2 speaker. At the B1 level, you're really comfortable with the real conditionals. I see this all the time with my students. Your sentences sound like this. If it rains, we will cancel the picnic. If I have time tomorrow, I will call you. Now, is there anything grammatically wrong with these sentences? Absolutely not. They're perfect. The problem is that they are limiting. They only let you talk about real or very likely or probable situations. They keep your conversations grounded in the simple and the certain. But life and interesting conversations are full of dreams, regrets, and what if scenarios. And that's where the B1 speaker gets stuck most of the time, often making a classic mistake like, if I had $1,000,000, I will buy a house. That error immediately shows you're trying to express an imaginary idea with a real grammar structure. So, the B2 shift is to get comfortable with the unreal conditionals. This is what unlocks your ability to speculate, dream, and regret. This is B2 territory. Let's start with the second conditional. We use this for hypothetical situations in the present or future. The structure is if plus past simple, would, and verb. We use a past tense, but we are talking about the present or future. Remember that. Look at the difference. A B1 speaker might say, if I get the promotion, I will be very happy. But a B2 speaker might say, if I got the promotion, I would be very happy. You see, this is more of a dream. It shows you are exploring a hypothetical idea. Now, let's transform another sentence. A B1 speaker might say something a little bit more concrete, like, if I have more free time, I will travel more. That's fine. But at B2, you can go, if I had more free time, I would travel the world. You see, now I'm expressing a wish, and it implies that I don't have this free time right now. Do you feel that difference? The second conditional is how you give great advice as well. For example, if I were you, I would talk to my boss. This sounds more natural. Now, let's go even more advanced with the third conditional. This is your language time machine. It's for talking about a different past, which is how we express regret or relief. The structure is if plus past perfect, would have past participle. A B1 speaker really struggles here and might say something awkward like, yesterday, if I studied, I passed the exam. A B2 speaker, on the other hand, can do this easily. Imagine the situation. You didn't study, so because of that, you failed your exam. A B2 speaker is able to express regret and say, if I had studied harder, I would have passed the exam. You see? Let's analyze another sentence here. Before, I didn't know you were there, so I didn't say hello. That's all right, but much better to say, if I had known you were there, I would have said hello. This is much more sophisticated and shows regret. Now, pay attention to the pronunciation here because this is a long conditional. It's a long sentence. And native speakers, they don't usually talk like that. What they're going to do is they're going to use it, but they're going to contract it. So instead of saying, if I had known you were there, you will likely hear, if I'd known you were there. If I'd known you were there. And instead of I would have said hello, you will likely hear I would have said hello. I woulda said hello. So a typical native speaker will likely say this phrase like this. Oh no, if I'd known you were there, I would have said hello. You see, just like that. The conditional is used, but it's usually really shrinked and really reduced. Remember that. And finally, you can mix the conditionals. A mixed conditional connects a past condition to a present result. Here's a situation. You didn't learn Spanish when you were young, so you aren't fluent now. A B2 mixed conditional might sound like this. If I had learned Spanish when I was younger, I would be fluent by now. You see, this is a classic case of something that happened in the past influencing your present. So when you talk about the event in the past, you're going to use third conditional. But when you talk about the situation in the present, you're going to use second conditional, both in the same sentence. That's why we call it a mixed conditional. Now here is your practice task. I want you to pause and think of one regret from last week and one dream for your future. Try to make one sentence for each. Use the third conditional for the regret. If I had done this, if I had done that. And the second conditional for the dream. If I had this, if I had that. Doing this regularly will bake this grammar into your brain. Before we continue here, let me invite you to book a one-on-one fluency discovery call with me. This is a call on Zoom of about 90 minutes where my main purpose is to get to know you better, you and your English journey, and help you find out what your current level of English is, what your weak areas or blind spots are, and help you with an action plan for you to keep seeing progress and improvement. So if you have been studying English for a while and you're not really sure about your level or even about what you have to do to keep improving, you feel stuck, booking this one-on-one call with me will give you much more clarity. So link in the description. The second B1 habit that's holding you back is how you use modal verbs. Words like can, must, and should. At the B1 level, you use them for the basics, ability, obligation, and advice. For example, I can swim. That's an ability. You must finish your homework. That's an obligation. You should see a doctor. I'm giving you advice. Again, all correct, but you're not using them for one of their most important jobs, expressing degrees of certainty. In other words, deduction and speculation. This is a game changer. B2 speakers use modals to be detectives, to guess and speculate about why things are the way they are. Let's start with the present. Think of it like a scale of certainty. You're going to use must if you are 95% sure. For example, he must be tired. He's been yawning all day. You're going to use might, may, or could if you are about 40 or 50% sure. It's a possibility. For example, the phone is ringing. It could be my boss. And you're going to use can't if you are 95% sure it's impossible. For example, she isn't answering her phone. She can't be home. A B1 speaker might just say he is sick. But a B2 speaker shows they are making a logical guess. He must be sick. Now for the truly advanced part, deductions about the past. This is where you really show your B2 skills. The structure is modal plus have plus past participle. A typical B1 speaker might say, the street is wet, maybe it rained. But at B2, you could say, the street is wet, it might have rained last night. You see, you are looking at the evidence now and making a deduction about the past. Let's check a few more. A B1 speaker might say, he failed the exam. I'm sure he didn't study. A B2 might say, he failed the exam? Pfft, he can't have studied at all. What about this one? I can't find my keys. Maybe I left them at the office. Versus, I can't find my keys. I might have left them at the office. Another powerful one is should have, for a past expectation that didn't happen. For example, I ordered the book a week ago. It should have arrived by now. You see? But he hasn't. Or even for criticism, you're late. You should have called me. Here's your practice task. Look around you. Pick an object, like a coffee cup. Now make 3 detective deductions about the past of this object. For example, someone must have been here recently. They might have been working because there's a laptop here. They can't have finished their coffee because the coffee is still full. This detective thinking is the key. Stop just stating what you see. Start interpreting why things are the way they are and speculate more. All right, the third area where B1 speakers get stuck is in reporting what other people have said. You know the basics of reported speech by now. You know to change the tense. For example, I am busy, she said, becomes she said she was busy. Technically perfect. The problem is you almost always use say and tell. Your stories sound like this. My boss said the project was a priority. I told him I needed more resources. He said he would think about it. It's repetitive. It's flat. It's boring. It strips all the emotion and intention from the conversation. The B2 shift here is using a variety of reporting verbs to show how something was said. This makes your storytelling more engaging and much more precise. Let's take this sentence as an example. You should apply for the job. A B1 speaker might say, he said I should apply for the job, which is fine. But at B2, you could also go like this. He encouraged me to apply for the job. You see, I'm showing that he supports my decision. Or he urged me to apply for the job. Now he was very insistent. Or even he advised me to apply for the job. Now he's giving me counsel. Notice that these advanced verbs often use different grammar patterns, and this is key. Many use an object and an infinitive, like the verb, the person, to do something. Let's look at a few patterns here. For pattern 1, we have verb plus to do. For promises, offers, and refusals, you agree to do something, you offer to do something, you refuse to do something. For example, okay, I'll help you. I can report that by saying, he agreed to help me. I will not work on the weekend. I can report that by saying, she refused to work on the weekend. Pattern 2 is verb, the person, and to do. Great for persuading, reminding, or warning. You advise a person to do something. You persuade someone to do something. You remind someone to do something. For example, don't forget to lock the door. I can report that by going, he reminded me to lock the door. Or, you should come to the party. I can report that by saying, she persuaded me to come to the party. Finally, pattern 3 is the verb and the ing. Great for admissions or suggestions. You admit doing something, deny doing something, or suggest doing something. For example, yes, it was me. I ate the last cookie. You could report, he admitted eating the last cookie. Or, let's go to the movies. I can report, he suggested going to the movies. You see the difference? Let's rebuild that B1 story from before. My boss said the project was a priority. I told him I needed more resources. He said he would think about it. Here's a B2 version of that. So, I spoke with my boss. He stressed the project was a priority. I then explained that I needed more resources and he promised to look into it. However, my colleague later admitted that the budget had been cut. Can you feel how much more alive that is? You're not just a reporter anymore. You are a storyteller. Here's your practice task. Think about the last real conversation you had. Report one thing the other person said, but don't use say or tell. Did they complain about something? Did they boast about something? Did they propose an idea? Start building a list of these powerful reporting verbs. The fourth habit that separates B1 and B2 speakers is sentence structure. A B1 speaker often communicates in a chain of short, simple sentences. It can sound a little bit choppy. Like this: I have a friend. He lives in London. He is a doctor. I visited him last year. It's 100% correct, but it's a list of facts, not a flowing story. You're making the listener do all the work of connecting the ideas. The B2 shift is to connect those ideas for your listener. You do this with two main tools: relative clauses and better subordinating conjunctions. First, relative clauses like who, which, that, and where. The B2 move here is mastering non-defining relative clauses because they give extra information and are separated by commas. They make you sound much more advanced. Let's fix that choppy B1 example. I have a friend, he lives in London, he is a doctor. I could say something like this: my friend, who is a doctor, lives in London. See, that extra detail, who is a doctor, is added elegantly inside the sentence in between commas. It's one flowing thought. Here's another one. My car broke down yesterday. It's very old. Now look at the B2 version. My car, which is very old, broke down yesterday. The second tool is using a wider range of conjunctions. B1 speakers use and, but, and so. B2 speakers use more precise words like although, despite, whereas, and since. Look at this contrast. He is successful, but he is not happy. Although he is successful, he is not happy. What about this one? Despite his success, he is not happy. Now there's even more style here if I use despite. Look at this reason. I couldn't go because I was sick. Versus, since I was sick, I couldn't go to the meeting. Hopefully you can see the difference here. Here's your practice task. Take two simple sentences. For example, I love coffee. It helps me wake up. Now combine them. First with a relative clause like I love coffee, which helps me wake up. But then also use a conjunction. Since coffee helps me wake up, I drink it every day. Playing with the sentences like this will build more flexibility in your speech and in your flow. The fifth and final change will have an immediate impact. It's about moving away from basic language to more precise, powerful words. The B1 habit is overusing very plus a basic adjective. Your speech is probably full of things like, the movie was very good. I'm very tired. The weather is very hot. This isn't wrong, but it's a linguistic crutch. It makes your vocabulary sound limited. Very is often a weak, unnecessary word. The B2 shift here is to use a single strong adjective that already has the meaning of very inside it. This makes you sound more dynamic and native-like. So let's upgrade those very sentences. Instead of very tired, say you're exhausted, you're drained, or you're beat. Instead of very good, say it's fantastic, it's incredible, or it's phenomenal. Instead of very bad, say it was awful, it was terrible, or it was dreadful. Instead of very happy, say you're thrilled or you're delighted. Instead of very big, try huge or massive. Instead of very beautiful, try gorgeous or stunning. Here's a good way to think about it. Imagine a volume dial from 1 to 10. Good is a 5. Very good is maybe a 7. But fantastic is a 9. Spectacular is a 10. Now, why settle for a 7 when you could be using a 9 or a 10? Got the idea? Another key B2 skill is learning collocations. We don't say very exhausted or very fascinating. It sounds unnatural. We use adverbs like absolutely, completely, or utterly. So I go, it's absolutely fascinating. I'm completely exhausted. Here's your practice task. For the next 24 hours, go on a very diet. Try not to use very at all. Every time you want to say very, pause. Think, is there one stronger word I can use? Maybe instead of very hungry, I can say starving. Or very boring, I can say dull or tedious. This one change will immediately make you sound more advanced. So, there you have it. 5 key shifts to take you from sounding like a B1 speaker to a more confident B2 speaker. Let's recap the points quickly here. Number 1, stop using simple conditionals. Start exploring hypotheticals with the second, third, and even mixed conditionals to express dreams and regrets. Number 2, stop using modals for just the basics. Start using them for deduction like a detective. He must have done that. Number 3, stop overusing said and told me. Start using vivid reporting verbs like encouraged or admitted to tell better stories. Number 4, stop using short, choppy sentences. Start connecting ideas with relative clauses and advanced conjunctions like although. And number 5, stop weakening your speech with very. Start using strong, precise adjectives like exhausted or fantastic. Look, this won't happen overnight. It takes conscious practice. But you don't need to learn 1,000 new things. You just need to upgrade the systems you are already using. Think of it like updating the software on your phone. Your English knowledge is already powerful. You're just installing a new operating system for more speed and more nuance. The goal here is to feel free in the language, to feel like your English can finally keep up with your thoughts. Choose one of these 5 shifts to focus on this week. Just one. Small, consistent actions lead to huge progress. You've already done the hard work to get here. You are much closer than you think to the next level. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. If this video helped you, please give it a like and subscribe for more lessons like this. And let me know in the comments, which of these 5 shifts are you going to work on first? I love to hear from you. If you want to know what your current level of English is and what you have to do to keep improving, book a one-on-one call with me. It's going to be great to meet you and talk to you for about 90 minutes on Zoom. Link in the description. And if you want to keep learning more about how to break through this intermediate plateau from B1 to B2, I highly recommend you watch this video next, where I go in more detail about that subject. I'm Thiago. I'm signing off. See you soon.